your roadmap to the latest in auto. Welcome to Highway Herald. Today, we're diving into a fuel crisis that's igniting tensions between the U.S. and Canada, threatening to send gas prices soaring and shake North America's energy stability. For decades, the U.S. has relied on Canada for over 60% of its crude oil imports, keeping fuel prices steady. But now, Canada is threatening to cut exports, a move that could trigger supply chain chaos. Buckle up as we break down the 7 key reasons behind this crisis. Reason number 7. The U.S. slaps tariffs on Canadian crude. This crisis didn't happen overnight. It's been brewing for years, fueled by aggressive U.S. trade policies aimed at protecting domestic industries. Washington has slapped steep tariffs on key Canadian exports like steel, aluminum, and crude oil, igniting tensions between the two nations. The biggest flashpoint? A 10% tariff on Canadian crude. It may seem minor, but in an industry where every cent counts, it's a game changer. American refineries, optimized for Canadian heavy crude, now face a tough choice: pay the tariff or scramble for an alternative supply. For Canada, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's a direct financial hit. As one of the world's largest oil producers, it has long depended on U.S. buyers. But with tariffs piling up, Canada is now eyeing new global markets, threatening to cut the U.S. off entirely. Reason number 6. Canada's bold response: a full-blown oil embargo. If the U.S. thought Canada would just roll over, they were dead wrong. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his administration aren't backing down. Their counterpunch? Cutting off oil exports to America? This isn't an empty threat. Canada has the infrastructure, buyers, and leverage to pull it off. Over recent years, they've been expanding trade with global heavyweights like China and India, giving them a viable alternative market if U.S. relations sour. For American refineries, this spells big trouble. Most are designed for heavy crude, and swapping in lighter domestic oil isn't simple. Retooling would cost billions and take years. If Canada shifts focus to Asian markets permanently, the U.S. risks losing a reliable energy partner, increasing dependence on volatile suppliers like OPEC and Venezuela. This isn't just about refineries, it's a potential blow to America's entire energy stability. Reason number 5. Gas prices are about to explode. If Canada follows through on its threat, brace yourself for sticker shock at the pump. Experts warn that within days of a supply cut, gas prices in the U.S. could hit $7 per gallon, and in some states, even spike to $9 per gallon. And that's just the start. The entire transportation sector would spiral into chaos. Trucking fleets, the lifeline of American commerce, would buckle under skyrocketing diesel costs. Higher fuel prices would ripple through every industry, from grocery stores to airlines, driving up prices on everything from groceries to airfare. Inflation? Through the roof. Economic uncertainty? Buckle up. Even a short-term disruption could send global oil markets into a frenzy, driving up costs across industries. And with no clear backup plan, the U.S. would be left scrambling for alternatives. Before we delve deeper, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support fuels our passion to create more content like this. Now let's explore reason number 4. The U.S. can't just flip a switch to replace Canadian oil. You might be thinking, why not just drill more oil? If only it were that simple. Most domestic oil production is light crude, but U.S. refineries are built for Canadian heavy crude. Even if drilling ramps up, the refining process still lacks a key component. Retooling refineries? That's a multi-billion-dollar, multi-year challenge. And let's not forget, the U.S. is already pumping near max capacity. Expanding production means navigating regulations, building infrastructure, and securing approvals, none of which happen overnight. Looking elsewhere? OPEC is notorious for supply manipulation, and Venezuela's oil industry is a disaster due to years of mismanagement and instability. Bottom line, there's no quick fix. If Canada pulls the plug, the U.S. is left scrambling for alternatives, facing a costly, uncertain future in energy security. Reason number 3. The shrinking lifeline: America's Strategic Petroleum Reserve. For decades, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, SPR, has been America's fuel safety net, a critical defense against energy crises. But today, that lifeline is running dangerously low. Established in 1975, the SPR hit a peak of 727 million barrels in 2009. Fast forward to 2025, and it's dwindled to just 390 million barrels, nearly half its former strength. What happened? In 2022, the U.S. released 180 million barrels to combat skyrocketing fuel prices, but replenishment has been painfully slow, with only 59 million barrels restored. With reserves stretched thin, America is playing with fire. A natural disaster, geopolitical conflict, or supply disruption could send fuel prices soaring and cripple industries. Without a strong SPR, the U.S. is exposed. The question is, will Washington act before it's too late? Reason number 2, a global energy chain reaction. If Canada slams the brakes on oil exports to the U.S., the shockwaves won't stop at the border. They'll ripple through global markets, sending oil prices soaring worldwide. As one of the world's largest crude exporters, Canada plays a major role in keeping supply chains steady. If that flow is disrupted, nations like China and India will scramble for alternative sources, reshaping energy alliances in ways we've never seen before. Financial markets will react instantly. Oil futures would skyrocket, market instability would surge, and inflation could spiral even further out of control. Every industry that relies on fuel, from transportation to manufacturing, would feel the heat. This crisis isn't just a U.S. Canada issue, it's a global tipping point. The energy landscape is shifting, and if this standoff isn't resolved, the domino effect could reshape economies across the world. Reason number 1, the political and economic high-stakes gamble. With an election year approaching, the U.S. Canada energy crisis has turned into a political powder keg. Some lawmakers are calling for immediate tariff rollbacks to ease tensions and prevent economic fallout. Others insist the U.S. must hold its ground, even if it means higher gas prices and an all-out trade war. Meanwhile, Canada is weighing its next move. Cutting off oil exports would be a seismic decision, with major consequences for both nations. But if tensions escalate, it may no longer be a choice. It could be inevitable. The big question looms. Will Washington back down to keep Canadian oil flowing? Or are we heading toward an energy showdown that could reshape North America's future? The road ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The stakes have never been higher. The final verdict, a crossroads for energy security. The United States and Canada have reached a critical crossroads. For decades, their energy partnership has kept fuel prices stable and supply chains secure. But now, that foundation is crumbling. If the U.S. digs in its heels, Canada may make a permanent shift to new trade partners, forever altering the balance of energy in North America. With gas prices spiking, emergency reserves running dry, and political tensions escalating, this crisis is far from over. So what do you think? Should the U.S. rethink its trade policies to avoid a full-blown energy disaster? Or is Canada making a reckless move that could backfire? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Highway Herald. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.